Welcome to the Purity Pulse podcast, your go-to podcast for the natural industry and everything Purity Life. I'm Julie.
And I'm Erin.
And today we're going to do our regular weekly check-in. We're going to talk about the process of onboarding or listing brand at Purity Life.
Yep.
And we're going to do our new to Purity Life too.
New to Purity Life.
Yes. So, Erin, what has happened in the past couple of days?
So the beginning of the year for us is kind of heavy on birthdays and whatnot. So I've been giving a lot of thought to birthdays and how we celebrate them. And honestly,
interesting.
How very different that is family to family. Because I see even within my own family, the way that my parents celebrated with us is very different than the way that my partner's family has celebrated with him in the past.
So expectations or?
Yeah, very much so, right? Like with my family, hopefully you'll get a call from siblings and whatnot, but not always. And frankly, that's okay. Like I'm okay with that. Versus on Brian's side of the family, it's a lot more, oh, your birthday's coming up, so we'll see you. Like it's, well, we're going to do a dinner, we're going to get together or something. Like there's always an event around that.
There's an event,
yeah.
Yes. And it's funny you say that because I remember when past year already, and I realized that I forgot your birthday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That was a nightmare for me.
I feel like that's strong, though, because you commented on it earlier. Like, you knew it was coming, so it wasn't a complete...
I know, but I remember I was, like, mortified. And then I went to Erin and I said, I'm so sorry. I didn't, like, really forget you.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I knew that.
Erin's like, that's all good. That's all no problem. And I was like, no, for me it is important.
Yes, actually, that's true. That was your exact response. I was like, it's fine. It's fine. You're like, no, it's not. It's not okay for me.
No, it wasn't. So
what was it like for you?
Well, for me, it was a big party, I would say.
Yeah.
But not like uncles and aunts and things like that. That was really our close family.
Yeah.
We had a cake, of course, and lots of activities.
Yeah.
So we had like games and things like that, but not like today. Like I find we were in Las Vegas and I see that inflated castle,
some of them.
and the big, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, this like that investment.
Yeah.
But no judgment here. Everybody does their own
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But it's really another level where for me back in time it was, you have your little cake.
Yeah.
And
was there decoration around your house? Like, did your parents put up things?
No. It was just like you get a cake and you get your gifts.
Yeah. So similar at my house.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid having, like, we had some birthday parties. I would have my friends over. But yeah, I mean, we were, for lack of a better term, like just a little bit more simple. Like even when we had birthday party, I mean, now for kids, if we have a birthday party, you're going. Yeah. Well, that's
Is
a
it
whole other
gluten-free?
thing.
Is it this? Is it that?
You're going somewhere and and it's an event. So you're going to the trampoline park or you're taking the kids to what, like there's there's so many different things, and it's less common to just go to somebody's house and have a party. Whereas when I was a kid, I mean, I was lucky if I had 3 girls over and like my mom would make a cake and
That was pretty much
we'd
it.
like decorate something or draw something, like whatever, or play pin the tail, like, on the donkey, that kind of thing. But it wasn't, hey, we're all going out to this thing. It wasn't near, I mean, even just the finances involved weren't near what the expectations are and what the norm is now.
No, I think there's a lot of stress created now for birthdays.
sure.
And then you, not to miss it, but also as I alluded, all the food side of thing.
Yeah.
Like all the, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. I have kids coming over that have this and that. And to be honest, I'm happy I don't have to deal with all of that. This is like, woo, I need a caterer to take care of all of this for me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But I will not forget your birthday this year. I will not.
Well, this year's a big one for you, right? So you must be celebrating. I mean,
yes. And the reason why, it's not because I want to, again, like even birthdays lately, it was very quiet because this is, it's just another year.
Yeah.
This year I'm celebrating my 50th birthday and I love dancing. So it's going to be a big party, dance party, and that's going to be in Quebec City. And we're actually going to invite a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Like
so
a
you're
lot
doing
of
it.
people.
You're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. This week's episode is brought to you by Quest Vitamins. Quest Super Once a Day offers 12 vital vitamins, 11 essential minerals, and herbal nutrition in a convenient, time-release tablet for maximum absorption. Simplify your wellness routine with just one daily intake. Combat urinary tract infections naturally with Quest D-mannose 500 milligrams. This natural sugar alternative to antibiotics promotes UTI prevention and treatment. Take 2 capsules daily to maintain intestinal flora and experience relief within 4 weeks. Support aging joints with Quest Triple Strength Glucosamine Sulfates 1500 milligram potency. 1 tablet daily protects cartilage, alleviates osteoarthritis joint pain, and enhances mobility. Embrace a life of ease and movement effortlessly. Quest is dedicated to being your partner in family health since 1976. So as Julie mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit about how we bring brands in, how we decide on what those brands are, how we make sure they're a good fit, and how we make sure that they're going to be really impactful and important for the retailer and the end consumer. That's always the biggest win for us.
Absolutely.
So yes, we've recently kind of updated this process. We've continued to scale, so everything needs to be updated. We're always about innovation and creating new strategies and whatnot. And one of the team members that we work with always is Phil Bean, our Director of Continuous Improvement. And he's obviously had a big part in how we've updated our process and really put it together. So we wanted to bring Phil in to speak with us on the podcast to talk a little bit about that part of the process that we've just recently updated. So thanks for coming, Phil.
Yeah, my goodness. Thanks for having me. Nice to see you both.
We're excited to have you again.
So you've done some changes because our process was a little bit more of a manual, I will call it, a couple of years ago. And as we know, we've grown quite a bit, and there's a lot more brands that are coming, I would say, after us in a very positive way. Yeah. So there's a lot to manage. And when we sat with you and we said, we need a new way to do this because it's not moving as fast as we need to. So tell us a little bit on, what you've developed and what tool that you use that you love so much.
Yeah, for sure. So like you said, Julie, we did things a certain way historically, and we shouldn't say that it was broken, because it wasn't. It got us to where we are, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But the reality is we hit a point where we needed to evolve. We were starting to kind of slow down, and we were hearing all these pain points. There's so many different departments. We said, all right, let's gather everybody together, put our minds together, and start to identify what these pain points are and brainstorm some solutions. So we did exactly that. It was a great meeting of the minds. We spent 2 days off site, kind of working through all the processes. And what we came up with was a streamlined way of collecting information and sharing information, not just internally with our teams, but also with our vendor and brand partners. And we did that through a program called Monday.com, which you've heard me talk about before. I love it. It's fantastic.
And this is a project management system. This is like a general,
Exactly. And there's all kinds of systems out there that are very similar to it. Monday's not the only game in town, but it's the one we have adopted, and it has served us very, very well. But it was really, first and foremost, get everybody in the room together to start talking through what are we trying to solve? We know we have pain points, but where do they lie, and how can we work together to kind of overcome them? Mm-hmm. So that was sort of the first steps. And it was a great collaborative effort. We've come such a long way in such a short period of time. Again, it wasn't broken before, but as with everything, just because we did it one way historically doesn't mean it's the best way for the future.
Yeah. And I would say kudos to the whole team involved too, right? I mean, that's, we always talk about innovation and improving processes at Purity and how important that is to us. But ultimately, it's going to be the people that are going to make or break a situation like that. Yes. And if you don't have people that are really open-minded and positive and willing to kind of adapt and adopt those changes, then, I mean, things can come crashing down. So yes, we've got this fantastic kind of leader to walk us through it, but every person on that team, I think that was a big piece of that success too, was everybody that was involved in that. I mean, as you said, this was a 2-day offsite thing that we did. Everybody was kind of involved and open and willing to kind of contribute.
And asking the right question. I think that what Phil brings to that to the team, not just to talk about Monday, but it's really pushing on asking what were we doing right and what was those pain point or challenges. And there was, I think, really two main points, which was there was a lag in the delay of onboarding brand. And we had delay from, a brand that was signifying their interest in May, and we're still in September, and that was still not a move or not. So we had that portion. And then we also, it was a smaller committee before.
Yes.
And we decided to bring people from every department to make sure that everybody had their say, because yes, sales might say, we want to sell that brand. This is great. But then Emily in purchasing would say, well, but the minimum is out of this world. It's not possible for us to do that, or the expiry is way too short. So,
well, and I think bringing all of those other perspectives as well has its own complications, because now you've got a lot more meeting of the minds and questions. And that speed to us at Purity is so important, because we want to be able to really react to trends and see something coming and say, we've got it, we're going to have it available to you, right away. So that speed was a big thing for us to improve on, I think.
And to go back to you, Phil, and Monday.com, I think that the way that the system gives us the chance to organize the information in one place was really a key success point, because that was another thing that was a challenge, is you have information that resides in very different departments, but then there's repetition. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more to that. And it created lots of fun now, because we vote and it's all cool. We have such a blast at that meeting now.
It's true.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, there were so many people and so many departments that need to be involved at various steps of a process. But the challenge was that, marketing has their information in one system, and purchasing has it in another system, and sales in another. So it's all fragmented, and no one really sees what the other teams are working on. So either you're duplicating efforts, or there's redundancy there, or perhaps you're doing something in one department that's going to cause a problem in another. So centralizing that information, that in and of itself was massive. And suddenly, not only do we remove steps, and we got hundreds of hours back into our calendar each month by going through this. So it's not an insignificant,
which we enjoy greatly.
And then those hours go into value-added tasks. And that's not just value-added for Purity. I mean, that's value-added for our vendors and our retailers and our brokers. It's a disservice to those who are trying to apply for distribution through Purity when we can't get them what they need quickly. And
absolutely,
like you said, Julie, there's these delays, whether it's weeks or months. So we can get them what they need quicker. But we started to ask the right questions on the front end to present vendors with what we need to know and what they can expect, because it has to make sense for both sides of the table, right?
It does.
And with so much nuance.
And I think one point too that it's respect as well, because there's brands that we cannot be successful. That's not the way we operate, or they're in a category that we know because of the logistic of things we can't. So just as out of respect for them, it's important to be quick enough to say, hey, thank you, but we can't work with you. So they can turn around quickly and find another partner that will help them.
And I would say, given kind of the more thorough way that we're doing this, we're able to get a jump on that. So instead of it being like, we think this is great, you guys want to work with us, we want to work with you, let's go. Now, if there's going to be a pain point that's going to be, detrimental to us or detrimental to the vendor, we can say out of the gate, this is great, but we're not going to be able to create success, not just for Purity, not just for retailers, but also for that brand.
Yes.
And that's ultimately what it's all about. We need to develop this partnership where we're succeeding, they're succeeding. Like the whole thing needs to succeed.
And everybody feels good.
Yeah. No matter how much you want it to happen, if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. And we need to be able to have those open conversations and make those decisions so we can keep moving and find all of those great fits and throw all this innovation out to the retailers and the consumers.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I'm curious to have your opinion. I kind of know how you're going to answer this, Phil, but for everybody that are listening, I also found that we got more collaboration and buy-in from every department as well, because they're involved right out the gate. It's not, hey, we've decided to list this, just buy it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So did you see that too? Like people were getting more excited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say it feels like there's more energy in the room, and I'm gonna say it actually goes back to that 2-day offsite, because we had everyone involved in the input. It wasn't just change imposed. You've heard me talk about this in the previous discussion. It's not just imposing change upon people; it's including people in decision making. And suddenly we understand the needs of each department, the wants of each department, and the impacts from each department. So getting everyone to build this thing together and then be a part of the follow-up discussions and decision making, that energy is fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's that. It's mutual respect, and it's operational
ownership,
all their core values, but it is really, really rewarding. It's still rewarding to see it. Even after we've rolled it in, it's still there. Yeah.
And that's something that I think any retailer can apply to their own systems as well, right? No matter how small or big, they're ultimately doing the same thing. They're still choosing brands that they want to have on their shelf. So that's something to consider too. If you can get the buy-in of more people within your store, if you've got the buy-in, it's the same thing for our sales team or the person on the floor. Yeah. If that person has already bought into, this is going to be a success, we can do this.
Yes.
Alignment is key. Alignment will equal success.
It's a very good point, because too often I would say, or it would be a good resolution for this year, retailers, but to involve your team.
Yes.
Because people who are putting the products on shelf, people who work in the store, they hear about what customers are looking for.
Yeah.
Many times when I'm in store and on the floor, I can see, I can hear, and all that information. It's great to have maybe
valuable.
A monthly meeting and say, hey, people, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
When I used to work at the body shop, actually, that reminds me, we were doing that. We had a core listing, of course, but we could decide regionally certain products that we wanted or not. And we had a sheet in the back door to vote. And we had this, we had the product samples in the back, and people could test it and give their opinion.
Fantastic.
Or yay or nay.
Yeah.
So involvement is so key, is important.
Yeah. And I think, you kind of touched on this too. It's about the product, but it's all aspects. So if you have somebody who's stocking the shelves at night and this thing just won't stand up on shelf, or there's something about that product that just isn't going to fit. It's impossible to get out of the box, all of that kind of stuff. Even those little things can really contribute to a failure.
Oh yeah.
If the stocking people are avoiding it and it's never going to be on the shelf, it's never going to sell. So even the smallest things that maybe
that you think that there's the smallest thing,
right?
right?
They're really not. It's about every single aspect. And it's about, I think, so much getting out of your own perspective. You have to be able to think about it from that person's point of view, from that person's point of view.
There's a little bit of control underneath that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like letting other opinion comes, and that might change the outcome of the decision of, do we take that product on or not? But I think that's that flexibility that come in.
For sure.
It's a big change, I would say, but we definitely see the success.
Oh, yeah.
We're very happy about that.
And Erin, you used the word in there, perspective, and perspective is such a powerful tool. And when you can give it a voice, then success is almost imminent. So don't forget that perspective is don't let it go to waste. It's there for us. We just need to give it a voice.
Well, thank you, Phil. We really appreciate the time. You're always very insightful for us. And I'm sure we'll see you in other later podcasts.
Yes.
Thank you
so much. I look forward to it. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks.
Love Phil. He's always got such great insight.
I know, he's so peaceful and calm.
Yeah.
So it's a delight to have him all the time. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what every department is looking for as information or data when we look at brands and we review if they're a fit or not for us.
Yes.
I'm going to start with the category management team.
Okay.
So basically what they look into is how many brands or how many of that category do we already have in our
Right.
portfolio? Because, of course, being a distributor, we can have tons of different teas, tons of different supplements of vitamin B and this and that.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that we have variety
Yep.
and to see, evaluate through the data how those categories are performing.
Yes.
So we do that on a frequent basis to be able to see if we're missing on something. So we review within each category. We review also the current brand that we have. Is
Yeah.
there some brands that are performing not as
Yeah.
well? If there's trends that we're missing on.
Yes.
We've discovered that, as an example, a while ago, that our baby category was a little soft.
Yeah.
So just to give you an example, so then when we go to shows, we're looking into that. So we're being
Yes.
proactive into looking for certain brands or certain
Yeah.
categories.
And kind of assessing the saturation of that category, right? Like, is there
Absolutely.
room for more? Do we need a different point of difference?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And through that, we question our retailers as well because they hear things.
That's right.
So there's different points where the category manager will look into their each category and bring back to us, the group that decide and on board and look for new brands.
Yeah.
What are we missing on? What
Yeah.
do we have too much of?
Yeah.
What is performing well? And then all that data is brought to us, and then
Yeah.
we can evaluate and be very more specific because, of course, there's a lot of brands that knock at the door to purity through Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere,
Yeah.
to signify their desire to work with
Yeah.
us.
I think that's an important piece too, right? Like, I mean, we've really learned to intake all of this data, review our existing sales and categories so we're prepared. So we can more, as you said, there's so many interested vendors that are looking for distribution. So a big piece for us is being able to just right out of the gate say, okay, we are very clear on what we're looking for and what we don't have room for
Yes.
right now. So we can immediately kind of clean through the clutter and pick out the winners, or at least pick out the potential winners, the
Yes.
starting points is such a big piece of it for us as well.
It's huge because, again, it reduces the time that we
Yeah.
invest.
Otherwise, we're drowning in
Oh,
brands.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And out of respect, again, that's very important for me because you have lots of brands and people that starts, that's their baby.
So many
And-
entrepreneurs, right,
Yes.
that are so passionate about their brand. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and we don't want to do anything to deter that
No.
or to put them in a position where they can't succeed.
No, exactly. So that's why by going through those numbers, we're very proactive in being able to know what we need. And also, it's a service for our retailers as well, because we want to make sure that we have the best offer for them,
Yeah.
that it's not just a me too on top of
Yeah.
all the others.
Yeah.
And then they invest a lot of time, and then to end up to not being successful. So,
Yeah.
so that's one part. Yes.
I was just going to say, I feel like it's also important to note that at the very beginning of this also is us really evaluating who we are and what we do best and what we want to do. Because
Absolutely.
the thing is, I mean, especially when you want to talk about entrepreneurs or brands looking at distribution, if it's not us, it's going to be a different distributor. And there are other
Absolutely.
distributors that are going to be a fantastic fit for some of these. So to be able to get back to them quickly and say, hey, it's
Yes.
not us, but here, like, for sure, keep going, find the right fit for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're always be very strong into our natural beauty, supplements,
Yeah.
sports nutrition.
Yeah.
Is very our core.
Yeah.
We do a bit of food,
Yeah.
but food is really a focus for us in the sense more of niche. something special.
Yeah.
Because that's
kind of
not-
almost boutique.
Yeah, boutique exactly is a perfect French
Yeah.
word. I love that. And that's really, and we know who we are
Yes.
clearly,
Yes.
and we're really voicing that
Yes.
out there. So
But
yeah,
not without work. Like that is
No.
that is definitely something that we kind of introspectively,
Yes.
okay, we need to make sure, and that's alignment again, right? Get everybody
Exactly.
on, here's what we do and here's what we want to do.
Yeah, and I brushed a little bit on the sales side of things.
Yes.
So for the sales team, we really ask questions to retailers. We ask our sales force
Yeah.
because every day they are in the store.
Yeah.
The regional sales manager and myself, that I'm always on the road
Yeah.
to see what's out there, what's coming.
Yeah.
Because we're not just waiting to see, or okay, you asked me for this product, I'm going to bring it in, but we
need to
really
be a
look
jump ahead.
Exactly,
Yeah.
always ahead of the curve. And so I would say for those two departments, that's really the key, how we gather information and what's important to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And on your side,
So, I mean, there's obviously many other departments. We've got the QC department. So, from that perspective,
control,
yeah,
just for
sorry,
people
quality
who doesn't
control,
know.
all the technical
exactly.
stuff and the legal stuff. And I mean,
Yeah.
really, for them, it's about is the label compliant? Is there? I mean, in terms
Bilingual.
of supplements, or yes, is it bilingual? Where can we sell this? Are the NPN? Does it have NPNs? Has Health Canada approved this product?
Yes.
Can we prove that those NPNs are actually valid?
Yeah.
Is the product stable? I mean,
Yes.
we've had brands come in where we've said,
Food.
"Hey, this is fantastic," and then 2 weeks later, we're like,
Molds.
"Oh, but this is now falling apart," or like
Yes.
that kind of thing. Do they have insurance? Like, or do we have that coverage if there's any issues down the line?
Absolutely.
In
And
terms
that's really
of
key because, again, I like to remind people that when they come with their brands to us, it's not just, hey, we like the product. Yes, it's trendy. Let's do it.
yeah, if only it were so easy.
Yeah, if only. And the QC department, the quality control, is really a big stop.
Yeah.
To review that. That's like the initial, especially if you're food supplements.
Yep.
That's where we see
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
work going in there.
Exactly. Even evaluating, what does this product need in terms of storage? Is that something that Purity Life can do? Can support?
Refrigeration, frozen,
Right.
this and that.
How does it need to be shipped? Does it need special shipping?
Yeah.
So there's a whole gamut of things there that we need to assess, and any one of those could be game changers. They could be, you know what, we just can't make this work successfully, right?
Absolutely.
We don't want to struggle through with any brand. We really just want to shoot for the stars. So.
Yes.
There's also our purchasing department. So they're looking at things like, where's this coming from? Is it going to be easy for us to bring in? We want to make sure that we always have stock available. We don't want to have that brand where every time a retailer's bought in, but we can't get it. We don't have the product.
For those who are listening and not watching, I'm laughing not because of what Erin is saying, but because I have my sales mindset here, and we want the product now. But then purchasing is like, but Julie, this comes in this size or pallets,
Yeah.
and it's not doable for
Yeah.
us. So it's like,
Yeah.
let's find a way to make
We
it
have
work,
to buy,
right?
we have to buy a shipping container, and it's going to take 8 weeks or 10 weeks for it to
Yes.
come overseas. So
It's from
stuff like that.
Australia, New Zealand.
and
Yeah.
and with the right brand, we can make that work. But we need to be eyes open, and we
Yes.
need to be able. The purchasing needs to be ready to kind of deal with that. So there's those pieces. There's, you even touched on a little bit earlier, minimum orders. Again, if we're just starting out with a brand and we want to kind of develop the success, we're not going to be able to bring in a shipping container.
We have 4
product.
warehouses for
Yeah.
us specifically, so it's 4 times.
So we're dividing all of those sales within these 4 locations, and the locations are just as important.
Yes.
Shipping something to our warehouse, our distribution center in Acton, Ontario, is very different than shipping something to Vancouver.
Exactly.
So all of those little pieces are huge factors as well. Shelf life is huge for us, right?
yeah.
Again, we can't bring something in and offer it to a retailer with 2 months shelf life.
No,
we
and
need
on
to be
top
aware
of that, I would say that in the past year or so, the requirements from certain retailers on the shelf
Yes.
life has increased. So for us as a distributor, depending on where, as you mentioned, the brand is coming from, we can't guarantee what they're asking. So unfortunately, sometimes we have to refuse to list a brand because we won't be able to fulfill the need of our retailer.
Yeah, because everything's going to take time. If it's going to take so many weeks to ship to us, and then we receive it, and then we've got to get it out to the retailer, and then the retailer
store.
wants to put it on their shelf for however long as well. As a consumer, I don't want to buy a supplement on the shelf if it's only going to be good for another month.
You have 2 days,
right? So that's a huge impact as well. So those are some of the big purchasing things. In terms of marketing, which is dearer to my heart.
Yes.
I thought a lot about this, and honestly, I think one of the first thing, and I think you're the same way, the first thing you see is the packaging.
Yes.
Does it look good?
Yes.
Is it attractive?
Is it bilingual?
Is it bilingual? is huge, right? If we throw this on the shelf, is it going to be clear what it's for? Is a consumer going to want to pick it up? Is a consumer going to understand it?
Yeah.
Have these things been thought through? Because we've got a lot of great brands. We've seen a lot of brands too where they're just clearly not ready. They haven't thought that part through. Their packaging is not clear, or there's errors.
And to that, I think we can, as Purity Life, we've been good to help and supporting and giving advice.
Sometimes mentor. Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. And we've done that. Of course, we can't do that with everybody, but we've done that definitely with brands that are very successful now. And something new in marketing, I would say in the past, well, maybe 5 years and in the last 2 years that I've accelerated, is to look at what's their social media.
100%.
The TikTok, Instagram, we're looking at that where before we were not looking at that.
So what kind of followers do they have? Are they actually putting out content that's aimed at their target?
Yes.
What platforms are they on? If this is something that's aimed at the older market, then Facebook is fine. You still want to have your other platforms as well, but TikTok probably a little bit less important.
Yes.
If something's going to be aimed a little bit more at the younger consumer, you better be on TikTok. You better be strong on Instagram. And that's another one it's often an eye-opener. You might see a really good brand, you jump on their Instagram, well, they just opened it last week and there's 2 posts. Okay, well then you're not quite there, you know, like then there needs to be support, or there needs to be a plan there.
Yes.
So that's a big piece of it as well, is their social, and honestly, websites. This is another one. Sometimes we'll come across brands and their website's not even open, it's not active.
Yes. So make sure of that before you enter your information on our portal. Just the basic, you know, I would say get your ducks in a row. And that's really the basic is my packaging bilingual. Do I have a solid social media?
Yeah.
What is my plan to promote?
Yeah.
Because even if your brand is out of the, I would say the 18, 30 years old, even past that time, I mean, I'm turning 50 and you have to be there because TikTok, there's so much more now. Even I was looking at TikTok during the holidays and so many dermatologists.
Yes.
They're promoting their face care there now.
It's opportunity. There's so much opportunity there. And it's opportunity that's going to be lost if you're not ready for it, if you're not using that. And to be honest, it's a red flag for us.
Yes.
If a brand's not taking that opportunity, why
they don't understand the market.
Yeah, you're missing. Like there's only so much other support you can do. So.
Marketing is much more now than just the POP material and the little shelf talker. Yeah. We're really past that. It's important to have.
To that note, this is still though another thing that marketing's going to be looking at is what is the brand doing to support? So what POP is there? Is there point of sale materials? Do you have sell sheets? Because even for us, maybe not so much the consumer, but to a retailer perspective, digitally print, we need to be able to present very, very directly and clearly, but concisely.
Absolutely.
This is what the product is. This is what the points of difference are. And then for a retailer, and these are the dimensions. This is the barcode. This is the pricing, all of those kind of things. So having those sell sheets ready, having all of those kind of presentations and samples. It's important for our team and for key retailers to be able to have those products in hand.
Yes.
So if a brand's not ready with those things, then we certainly have some things that we need to review and deal with.
Yes, yes.
Lastly, I would say marketing budget. Actually, not lastly in importance, but if a brand is coming to us and saying, oh, yeah, you know, we think we're going to have $100,000 in sales, so we're going to throw $1,500 worth of marketing.
Mm-hmm. And I can't
red flag. That's not, you know.
And to add to that portion in that marketing budget is attending shows.
Yes.
Some brands will say, well, I can't go on CHFA this year. it's important.
Yeah.
That's where the traffic, that's where you'll get, on top of having, our reps or people that will talk about the product, but that's really key.
Yeah, you've got to get out there.
The presence, the contact that
The
you get,
relationships.
the relationship, which our market is all about. So
Yeah.
those investment right out the gate are really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say all of those things are things that we're looking at, and if they're not, they're things that we're looking to really kind of help push and support a brand to get out there, because they're all key pieces.
Yeah. So that goes around all of the, basically at the high level, of course, where we have like a checklist and very organized, but that gives really an overview of the group, the committee basically that is on the reviewing every Thursday. We're religiously going in that meeting.
Every one of those pieces.
Yeah, exactly. So, and now we can, like, from there, again, we can add a little bit more on the how to support. How do we support for the success of the brand
For sure.
as Purity Life?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you wanted to continue a bit on the marketing side of things, more precisely.
There's definitely all of these pieces, right? So if we've now chosen to partner with this brand, how do we do that? How do we do that from a marketing perspective, sales perspective,
Yes.
the whole thing? So, I mean, as soon as we bring on a new brand, it's really part of the marketing goal to make sure that we're getting awareness out there. The biggest thing, make sure the retailers know that we have the product
It's on
and
board.
what it is
Yes.
and why they need it.
Yes.
So there's a lot of things that we have available in terms of doing that.
Yeah.
Right out the gate, we would put advertising. So we've got a quarterly magazine that's printed
Highlight.
and sent out to 3,000 purchasers across the country.
Yeah.
So that's one big opportunity. There's print advertising in there. We have product features in there. We highlight new brands, and it's really kind of the go-to for these buyers to see, okay, what's new?
Yes, what's new to
coming out?
Purity
What do I
Life?
need to know?
Yes.
And we know this from retailers. We hear this from retailers.
Yeah.
This is where I'm looking. I'm looking at these features. I'm looking at these highlights. So all of that
Yes.
is available.
Very clear.
And that's also available digitally. We also send out monthly e-newsletters that talk about all of our new products or
Reminders.
any changes and features and whatnot.
Yeah. Customer
Social.
link.
Customer link.
Yes.
We've got different banners and information on Customer Link. All of that information is funneled within Customer Link, so you can get more details on that product. But yeah, like all of the online presence on pureLife.com. And then again, that's social, right? Like we're going to immediately announce your brand, show the point of difference, show those kind of key highlights, and make sure people are understanding that.
And that's why the importance of having your own content as a brand, because we can reuse it and repost it. And our reps do the same. They grab your content and they would use it on their own social media as well. So the more voices out there, the more your brand, come to life. Even more. So there's definitely a lot that marketing does. And I would say on the sales side, it really, we have exclusive and we have also shared brands. And of course, distributing 400 plus brand, that's a lot for us to be focusing on. And of course, honestly and very transparently, we can't focus all the time on all the brands. That is not possible. That's why we use also the marketing side of things to be able to make sure that those new brands have that voice and that place. But brands, as an example, that would be exclusive to us, there's a lot more focus on it, of course, and our brands and there's training. We do training with new brands, and then the reps go out there and they will get the brand as their own baby, basically, and grow it. We also offer some distribution opportunities. We call it spiff, or incentive to the reps, to really promote those brands. But again, we always have in our mind too that what makes sense for the retailer. So it's not just, hey, here's a new brand, here's a focus. We have to push that
Not
on
every
shelf.
brand's going to be a fit for every store.
Exactly. And we're very respectful that way. And we make the best out of it. And that's how we really help the brands. And we also have those meetings with them to review the success on a monthly basis with those exclusive brand. And then we can review the objective and how they move and make sure that we align, because you onboard a new brand, it could be a big trend and it's great, but then it doesn't lift as much as you you expect.
Yeah.
So you need to realign and discuss, have those open discussion, because at the end of the day, we all want to succeed.
We all want to succeed.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would say a couple of other big ones.
Yes.
One is our education portal.
That's
Is a huge opportunity for
Yes.
brands. It's totally free for retailers. So it's basically, we work with that brand to develop some education materials, some courses, some lessons. And it's just a great way to get the retailers to learn about your product and be able to speak to your product on the store floor, within their website, that
Yes.
whole thing too.
because that's one thing to put the product on shelf, but it has to move. And
Yeah.
people who move the product is the employees on the floor.
Yes.
And in this retail environment, there's a lot of change.
Yeah.
So this way, you always keep your staff knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And, there's an incentive on doing those little
Yeah.
quick training,
We can put
fun
the sample
training.
of that product into the store
Yes.
floor employees'
Yes.
hands as well.
Yeah.
And then lastly, not to be an afterthought, but our reporting. At Pure Life, we've got excellent reporting.
Transparency,
So
fully.
immediately the brand is going to see, this is where my product went, this is where it's not, this is where the opportunity
Yes.
is, and this is the product that Purity Life has in their distribution centers to sell. So all of those details we're super transparent about, so that
Yes.
we can all kind of own that piece. And again, align to success.
And a final piece, I would say, is
There's so many
we,
things.
we all have our piece in the success of a brand. But at the end of the day, the brand own their success in
Yes.
their hand too.
Yeah.
So they need to really be out there.
Yes.
I see Erin from Erin Wellness, that she's pounding training. She's in the store
Yeah.
and this is the way to succeed.
puts the work in.
She put the work
Puts
in.
a lot of work in.
People like to connect with the brand,
Yep.
and she's doing that.
Yeah.
She's not just sitting within her office and say, "Hey, here's the sales, and I'm missing this." But
Yeah.
she understands her customers as well. So kudos to her.
Yeah.
So I'll zip it here.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say absolutely. The opportunities are endless. We can support in any way.
Yes,
In any way.
absolutely. I think it gives hopefully everybody a little bit of an explanation on the what do we do when we list a new brand,
Yeah.
and how we wanted to improve our process to be even more to be faster in executing. So you're not waiting, or am I going to be listed or not? So that's a high level overview. But again, I hope it gives you a little bit of clarity, and certainly you can reach out to your sales rep or ourselves if you have more questions.
Yeah.
And we'll put in the notes the link to go to.
How to apply for
how
distribution.
to apply for distribution, because
Yeah.
we love receiving the LinkedIn, the Instagram.
Yeah.
Don't stop. I love it.
Yeah.
But we're going to give
But
you
we're
that
always
link.
going to guide you back to
Yes.
that apply for distribution link
Yes.
in that form, because that's that
We need that
starting piece of
information.
information for us to start going down this road. Yeah.
Exactly.
So now we've come to the section of the podcast where we talk about new to Purity Life. So we
Exciting.
wanted to introduce this new brand that we've brought in, Atrantil. Is what it's called. It's taken us a while to figure out how to pronounce it. That's something that they put very clearly on their website, how to pronounce it. But once you get it, it's good.
Yes.
So it's an IBS-specific product, which we were looking for because we don't have
Absolutely.
something quite along these lines.
Yeah, and the good thing about this product, while some people say, well, Atrantil doesn't tell me anything, the good thing is on the label right out there, it's written for irritable bowel syndrome. And a lot of people that are looking for some relief or of the cramping and pain, they're looking for ingredients. They don't know really what to use too much. Where this product is easy for retailers to put it on the shelf, customer will walk by and they will see right away
Yep.
what it's used for. So
Yeah, and it also
kudos to them on
says
that.
constipation and bloating. So
Yes.
great clear label.
Yes.
So they have a key ingredient, pretty new actually. I wasn't familiar with it before this. Quebracho.
Yeah, we
So-
laugh a little bit on that
Yeah.
because we can make a little accent on quebracho.
Yeah,
So we played
quebracho.
around. Yeah, exactly.
So what that does, there's also peppermint leaf. So I think we're all a little bit more familiar with that and kind of stalling the relaxing the small intestine. But this quebracho soaks up the excess hydrogen. I'm going to read this because it's important.
Yeah.
And disrupts the cell wall of the bacteria. Then they've also got the horse chestnut in there to actually kill off that bad bacteria. So that's where you're getting that kind of big impact on irritable bowel, additional gas, additional bloating.
Yes.
So pretty well formulated, actually. I'm excited about this one.
It is very exciting. And the fact also, I was thinking about people who travel too, because there's people, you have like IBS, but all the bloating side and issues with bacterias. I hear a lot of that comment when I'm on plane, actually, because you sit there and you eat, and it just most of the time it creates a lot of bloating, discomfort. So definitely not only for people with IBS, but highly recommended with the ingredients that is that mix there for people who suffer of any bloating and discomfort in that area. So very innovative, and we're very happy to have that on board now.
Absolutely.
So, yes. Just a reminder that we have our celebration, our 40th anniversary in Vancouver on February 6th.
Very soon.
And we also have our 3-day sales from February 6th to 8th.
Yeah, so make sure you plan around that, grab those deals, and definitely register for the Vancouver tabletop. You can register on puritylife.com. So thanks again. We've come to the end of this episode. Be sure to follow us and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram. I'm at Erin G. Macklin.
JD_Girl Power.
And Purity Life Health Products LP. And send us your feedback. We always want to know what you think. We want to know what you want to hear. Marketing at puritylife.com. And definitely join us next week when we are joined by
Trevor Linden to discuss maintaining health throughout the aging process.
It'll be a good one.
Yes.
Thanks.